Word 2013, Unit G, insert a sidebar. Now, building blocks are the reusable pieces of formatted content or document parts that are already stored in galleries like our headers and footers, cover pages, and text boxes. Sidebars and pull quotes are text box building blocks that we can use to jazz up a page. A sidebar is a text box that is positioned adjacent to the body of a document, and it contains auxiliary information. A pull quote is a text box that contains an excerpt from an article, formatted generally in a larger font size, but placed on the same page. We can use the text box command on the Insert tab to insert not only sidebars, but also pull quotes. For our case, we're going to create a sidebar to display the tour highlights information on page 1, and a second sidebar to display information for travelers on page 2. So let's get started. As we've been doing so far, we're going to Control Home to make sure that we're at the beginning of our document. And let's go to the Insert tab above the ribbon, and we're going to click the text box button in the text group. And of course, our text box gallery opens, and it includes a lot of built-in styles for sidebars and pull quotes. Now we're going to scroll through our gallery, and we're looking for a sidebar called Retrospect. And generally you'll see that there's both a sidebar and a quote for a certain style. So here we have the Austin quote, the Austin sidebar, the Bandit quote, the Bandit sidebar. We're looking for the Retrospect sidebar, which should be near the Retrospect quote. So we're going to click that. Notice by default it is placed on the right side of our document. Right now it's got brown text box and a green shadow. Now we've already, by default, our sidebar title is also selected, but we don't need that. We're going to replace tour highlights. Don't forget, we've got some great shortcut keyboard combinations that are mentioned in this unit. For instance, Control on my keyboard and X is a quick way of cutting text. And so I'm going to select my sidebar title and hold down Control and V to replace that text with my new text. Same thing for my bulleted list over here to the left. Control on my keyboard and X. And now I can grab my body defaulted information here in my text box or in my sidebar. Control and V to paste that as well. So, and just backspace up here. Alright, so the text is cut from the body of my document and pasted in the sidebar. Now while I have my sidebar selected, I'm going to go to my drawing tools and format because I don't want the sidebar here. I want to move this. So I'm going to go to my position button. That should be familiar from one of our previous units. And we're going to say position in top left with square text wrapping. And let's change the size of this, both the height and the width. For the height, we'll say we want 2.1. And for the width, we'll say that we want 6.9. And hit enter on your keyboard. And notice how this looks now. Let's make a few more changes. For instance, that tour highlights is kind of bleeding into the background. Let's see if we can choose a slightly brighter look. So let's select tour highlights, and we'll go to our font color list. And they say we're going to do this on the mini toolbar, which means we got to be watchful because the mini toolbar pops up so quickly. There we have it. We're looking for green accent 1. You can see what's currently selected down here. We're going for green accent 1, which will be a little bit brighter. Next, let's select Mount Kenya, Safari, and Beach here. And you got to be really careful how you do this, because if you just click and select, notice you're grabbing not only the title, but also the text box. And I really don't want to do that. So let's see if I can be a bit more careful. Notice if I go over too much, I also grab that text box. So I'm going to back up a bit. Don't forget your keyboard. I can hold down my shift key and use my arrows. This is another way to be very precise about what I select. I'm using the shift key and the right arrow button. One too many, back up one with that arrow key on my keyboard. So I've selected that. I'm going to go to page layout above my ribbon, And I want to give myself a bit more room between my text box and my title here. So I'm going to add some spacing before my title. And we're going to type 30 here and hit enter, and you can see how my title's impacted. I think that's a lot more readable. Let's scroll down to page 2, and we're going to stick our insertion point right in the middle of my heading here, planning your trip. Let's go to the View tab, and let's go ahead and select multiple pages so that we can see the kind of the broader layout of our document. We can look at more than one page at a time really easily. And let's do one more thing. We're still in planning your trip. That's good because the changes we want to affect now are going to be on this second page. So let's go back to that Insert tab, and let's choose Text Box. And let's get another one of those retrospect sidebars. So let's see if I can find that. Here it is. I saw retrospect quote, and I knew retrospect sidebar would not be far behind. So I'll click that. We get another sidebar. And now we're going to do something really cool. We're going to pull in an entirely different document into this little sidebar. Let me go ahead and get rid of this by hitting my delete key on my keyboard once I know I have it selected. So I have the, I've already downloaded the file that I need. It's W-2, and I pulled that from Canvas where your files are located. So now it's just a matter of me going to the Insert tab above the ribbon, finding my Object button in the text group, and choosing Text from File, which is a quick way to get there. This is the file, WDG-2, that I told you I'd already downloaded from Canvas while you guys weren't watching. I'm going to select that and choose Insert, and let's see, did I pull in the right file? Let me be sure. I think I did. All right. Now let's make sure that it's formatted as we want it to be. I see that my text box is already selected, so I'm going to go straight to Drawing Tools and Format. Go back to my Position button in the Arrange group, and again click Position in top left, and notice it moves it. My height, I'm going to type 9.1. Looks pretty good. And my width, I'm going to type 2.7 and hit Enter, which makes it just a bit wider. And this looks like a pretty good place to stop. So that's it for us. Word 2013, Unit G, Insert a Sidebar.